The crash out report is about to make it into my rotation of videos. The crash out report is basically Donald Trump just going off on people. He has been doing it with reporters. He's been like crashing out on his Lie.Social page. Dude is kind of crazy right now. But anyways, Quiet Piggy is trending right now because he said Quiet Piggy to a female reporter. I Donald Trump, okay. Supposedly, this person has great cognitive ability because he passed some kind of test where he was able to pick out a giraffe and an elephant and a lion. So, obviously, he has great mental acuity. But this person with this body type of big body pillow called someone a piggy. This person who has the shape of a rectangle with really long arms and man boobs and a neck gina called someone a piggy. And I am confused as to how this happened. So this is Rick Wilson, a never Trumper. We have Gavin Newsom getting into the fray, showing this body that looks like a 10-pound sack of potatoes. The Resistor sister commented underneath Gavin Newsom's post, and it says corruption, and it has Donald Trump as a pig. Trigger warning, this next picture that I'm about to share is a bit wild. If you're drinking anything, please push it to the side. If you're eating anything, please swallow it completely. I don't want to get anything stuck in your throat. The press office for Gavin Newsom shared this picture. This is gross. This is fake, but it's still crazy looking. Brian Allen posted this saying, "This is Jennifer Jacobs, the reporter Trump barked quiet piggy at for asking about the Epstein files. Stop normalizing a president abusing reporters, especially women, because he's terrified of a question." This is the press office of Gavin Newsom sharing this picture of Donald Trump eating pasta. Definitely looks like a person that has great table etiquette. This person named Buffy shares this picture. Here is a pig's eye, and here is Trump's eye. Who wore it best, Donald Trump or this pig? We're going to go ahead and say Donald Trump because we're biased and we do not like Donald Trump. Billifer from Canada says, calling a reporter piggy is crazy when you got the skin tone of Canadian bacon. And see, at first I was thinking that he has skin tone the color of varnish. Like he just puts the varnish in the specific, not over here, not at his ear and his hairline, but just he puts the varnish just right in the middle. Whatever this color is pretty terrible. Yesterday I saw him. So let's move over to his Lie.Social. I saw him crashing out about someone named Rod Bray. And I'm guessing, at first I was guessing, now I do know, that Rod Bray would not participate in gerrymandering and trying to help Donald Trump rig the midterm elections. So this is what he said yesterday. Lines are forming to run against Rhino, Indiana Senator Rod Bray, and those few other senators who support him in the upcoming primaries. Every one of them will lose in record numbers. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So that was yesterday at 1 o'clock. And this was yesterday at 8 a.m. I will be strongly endorsing against any state senator or House member from the great state of Indiana that votes against the Republican Party and our nation by not allowing for redistricting for congressional seats in the United States House of Representatives, as every other state in our nation is doing, Republican or Democrat. Democrats are trying to steal our seats everywhere, and we're not going to let this happen. This all began with the rigged census. We must keep the majority at all costs. Republicans must fight back. So that was yesterday morning. And this is another one from yesterday afternoon. He says, in the entire United States of America, Republican or Democrat, only Indiana Republican State Senator Rod Bray, a complete and total rhino, is opposed to redistricting for purposes of gaining additional seats in Congress. The Democrats have proven to be dishonest and untrustworthy in anything having to do with elections or election integrity. Republicans must be tough and smart if we're going to win the midterms. The Rod Brays of politics are weak and pathetic. I wish he cared about saving our country as much as Democrats care about destroying it. Make America great again. So that was yesterday. Let's talk about why Trump is crashing out. This is from the Daily Beast. It says, desperate Trump, 79, they had to put his age, LOL. Desperate Trump rages at Republican ruining his power grab. Trump lashed out at an Indiana lawmaker after the state's Republican-controlled legislature defied pressure from the White House to redraw the state's congressional districts. The White House has been pushing Indiana legislators since August to redraw their political maps to favor Republicans in all 9 congressional districts, with the goal of helping the GOP pick up an additional 2 House seats in next year's midterm elections. But Indiana State President pro tempore Roderick Bray announced on Friday that the state Senate wouldn't convene next month to take up the plan because it lacked sufficient support to pass. In a post on Truth.Social, Trump said he was working with Indiana Governor Mike Braun to get the maps redrawn and blamed Trump for the impasse. So Donald Trump really thinks that he has the right, he has the power to play politics with the state level governments. He really believes that he is a king. Here's his Lie.Social post from today. I am working with Governor Mike Braun and other Indiana Republicans on picking up 2 Republican congressional seats. The governor, a good man, must produce on this, or he will be the only governor, Republican or Democrat, who didn't. I won Indiana in a landslide, the most votes ever gotten in the state. Such an honor. A Rhino State Senator, Roderick Bray, who doesn't care about keeping the majority in the House in D.C., is the primary problem. Soon, he will have a primary problem, as will any other politician who supports him in this stupidity. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President DJT. He really believes that he is a king and that, like other state governors or other lawmakers everywhere, are just supposed to bow down and help him attempt to cheat. By now, we should know that California did redraw the maps, but Gavin Newsom put it to a vote, and then it did actually pass overwhelmingly. And they did it in response to Texas attempting to gerrymander. Well, this article just dropped. Federal court blocks Texas from using new congressional gerrymander in 2026 midterms, so the federal courts are blocking it. Texas cannot use its new congressional map for the 2026 election and will instead need to stick with the lines passed in 2021, a 3-judge panel ruled Tuesday. The decision is a major blow for Republicans in Texas and nationally who pushed through this unusual mid-decade redistricting at the behest of Donald Trump. They were hoping the new map would yield control of 30 of the state's 38 congressional districts, up from the 25 they currently hold, and help protect the narrow GOP majority in the United States House. The map cleared the GOP-controlled legislature in August and was quickly signed into law by Governor Greg Abbott. Several advocacy groups sued over the new district lines, saying lawmakers intentionally diluted the voting power of Black and Hispanic Texans and drew racially gerrymandered maps. Over the course of a 9-day hearing in El Paso earlier this month, they aimed to convince the judges that it was in the voters' best interest to shelve the new map until a full trial could be held. It's not immediately clear if the state still has a legal path to restoring the new map in time for 2026. Unlike most federal lawsuits, which are heard by a single district judge and then appealed to a circuit court, voting rights lawsuits are initially heard by 2 district judges and 1 circuit judge, and their ruling can only be appealed directly to the United States Supreme Court. This is just the opening gambit in what promises to be a years-long battle over Texas's congressional map. A lawsuit over the state's 2021 redistricting, including its state legislative and education board seats, went to trial earlier this summer and remains pending before the same 3-judge panel. The judges have indicated they may want to see how the U.S. Supreme Court rules on a major voting rights case before issuing their full ruling on Texas's map. But for Trump and many of his Republican supporters in Texas, the short-term goal of having this map for the 2026 election was as important as the long game. So this is probably why they are freaking out, sounding the alarms. So this is today's crash. I got cut off. I was saying this is the end of today's crash out report.
Quiet Piggy.
Venezuela, sir, you've had a...
Okay.
Mr. President, what did Jeffrey Epstein mean in his emails when he said you knew about the girls?
I know nothing about that. They would have announced that a long time ago. It's really, what did he mean when he spent all the time with Bill Clinton, with the president of Harvard, you know, that is Summers, Larry Summers, whatever his name is, and all of the other people that he spent time with. Jeffrey Epstein and I had a very bad relationship for many years. But he also saw a strike because I was president. So he dictated a couple of memos to himself. Give me a break. You're going to find out what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including J.P. Morgan shares.
Sir,
Yeah,
if
Jennifer,
there's
go
nothing
ahead.
incriminating in the file, sir,
Quiet,
why not?
quiet.